One more race to go then here this weekend in Franciacorta. It is the X30 Senior final. It could be a race dominated by the host nation. It's going to be held over 17 laps here in Franciacorta. 36 of the best drivers across Europe ready to go racing for what is sure to be a pulsating race.
It surely will be, and it will be Danny Carenini starting it on the front row. But let's go over the category. Senior X30, ages 14 and above, 118 entries. Yes, that's correct. Nearly 120 entries into this weekend, but it's been whittled down to just 36. The engines that these drivers use, very similar to the juniors, but they're just not restricted. It's the same 125cc engine, but unrestricted to 30 brake horsepower and a little bit more weight added on. 158 kilos, the minimum weight that these drivers have to reach with the kart and driver included. As we always say, 1 gram underneath, you're getting a lot of trouble. The tyres, the MG SM2s, these are the prime tyres the drivers will be using this weekend. The slightly softer of the two compounds compared to the juniors. Again, they get the 2 dry sets throughout the entirety of qualifying heats, and the superheats. But now for this final, a brand new set of tyres is available for them. But like we saw in the juniors, some of them might not choose to go for it. Luzio leads it, 39 points ahead of Clément Outron with 28 points. Ruben Moya with 24 points is 1 point ahead of Danny Carenini, who starts this one on pole position and is probably the favourite to take the 25 championship points at the end of this one. Biasatti is 5th with 21 from Kian Geraghty with 19. Geraghty is still in a good spot as well in this one to really climb through the field. He does start 16th, but he's in a good spot still. He's got the pace, he's got the momentum throughout this weekend. That's the most important thing. Well, Danny Carenini earlier on, he didn't win his superheat. He did finish P4, but it was, again, his qualifying heats, the one that he was most focused on. He won absolutely all of them. Pole position as well in qualifying. He starts this one on the front row. As you can see, he has adorned a brand new full set of tyres for this one. He'll have the close company of Cristian Biasatti alongside him as well, because Biasatti for the TB Kart team has been a contender in this one. He did win his superheat earlier on, and he has had 3 qualifying heat wins. His other results have all been second places after he qualified 5th overall. He was 8th in the championship going into this weekend. He now moves up to 5th in the championship going into this final. Where will he finish at the end of it? There you can see he will just consult with his mechanic ahead of this one as we get ready to go racing for this final. This is the longest race of the weekend, 17 laps. But around this 1,300-metre circuit, the races go by so quick.
They do indeed. It's a roller coaster ride here at Franciacorta. I think for Cristian Biasatti, he's got to remind himself that, yes, Carenini's had all these wins this weekend, all this success in the lead-up to the event, but there hasn't been a race with this level of stake on the table, as it were. So that's a potential thought in the mind for all of the drivers, where they're going into a bit of the unknown here. Danny Carenini is a firm favourite. That we've got to be straight with. But we thought he was a strong favourite at Zweyer as well, and he didn't win that one, did he?
He didn't. This man here, though, Riccardo Ferrari, coming into this weekend, he has been a driver that has impressed me tenfold. He did race in this championship last year in the junior category, only as a one-off round, though. Had good results in this one. This time around, even better results in the senior category. I had to catch up with him thinking about, this is a one-off. We didn't see you at Zweyer, but we have seen you here. Do you think about maybe doing Wackersdorf and Genk? We said, if I do well here, I might think about it. Well, he starts on the second row of the grid. He might do very well here. We might see him at Wackersdorf and Genk.
I think Riccardo Ferrari is the biggest threat to Carenini here, because he's got nothing to lose. He's got absolutely nothing to lose in terms of a championship bid, because I agree, it'd be great to see him at Wackersdorf and at Genk. But in reality, with him so far behind in the championship already, his chances to take the title are going to be pretty low. Happy birthday to Tanisha Vellens here this weekend. A 3-minute board in the air there for the drivers and for the mechanics, who will clear the grid shortly. Rest of the drivers on this grid as well. Interested to see how Clément Outron gets on in this race. He's currently sat in the live points second, 28 of them on the board. So he's the top TB Kart driver in that regard, but I wouldn't say he's the top TB kart driver here this weekend. Biasatti's had an edge over him so far, and we have seen a few battles between the two of them in the lead up through the qualifying heats and through the superheats as well. I'm sure they've had a bit of a discussion. Their team manager is most likely talking to them and say, "This is a final, guys. We need to bring home a good result.
Yep.
Keep it firm, but keep it clean. Get both karts to the end of the race."
Yeah, that's probably a good conversation to have with your drivers ahead of a final. Whether or not they listen to that advice is another story, because drivers will be drivers. Some will listen, some will take it on the chin, I'm sure, but I'm sure all of them will just be focused on this one. They will just remain controlled, ready to go for this race. There is the 269 of Clement Outron, who starts this one on the second row of the grid. Really impressed with Clement Outron over the course of this weekend. And I was really impressed with his start in that superheat earlier on. Remember, he was starting on the second row of the grid, but crucially on the inside line. He nearly went for the lead in towards turn 1. Not 2, but turn 1 through that little right-hand kink. But he clipped the curb, and we almost had an almighty collision at the start of that superheat. But luckily, it didn't go that way, and he got away with a really, really good result at the end of that one. Last few checks just being made there. Everyone surrounding the circuit, ready to watch what is going to be an absolutely frantic 17-lap final. There is David Dragan, who starts this one on the third row of the grid. P5 for him over the course of this weekend. And again, really good results for David Dragan. He really impressed me here. He did take a race win in his penultimate race of the day. He's always maintained a top 5 finish as well. So again, he's looking forward to seeing a really good race in this one. Of course, the marshals out there. Without them and without their passion, we could not go racing. So I'm sure everyone who's watching here this weekend, the racers who are racing, can thank the marshals very dearly there for their hard work over the course of this weekend. Marcus Luzio, I'm looking forward to this one. Luzio, who is your championship leader, we have on-board live footage from him as we get ready to go for this final. There you can see just ahead, the yellow light is flashing, indicating there is about 20 seconds until we get going for this final. There you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, Martin Mead, our race director. On the left-hand side was Chris Lambret, the head of the stewards, racing this weekend. But right now, as the whistle blows, it is Senior X30 final that is about to get underway. Let's take you through the full starting lineup. It was 118 drivers, whittled down to just 36, and it's Danny Carenini for Italy, his home country, starting on pole position. Cristian Biasatti, his fellow Italian countryman, starts alongside Riccardo Ferrari, also from Italy, goes from row 2. Clement Outron from France goes from row 2 alongside Ferrari with David Dragan and Finn McLaughlin on row 3. Marcus Luzio and Clovis Nougrade round out the top 8 on row 4 from Romain Roussel and Lewis Bird the top 10 on row 5. Laurent Sash and Johan Aluja round out row number 6 from Louis Coman and Natalia Granada on row 7. Andy Ratel and Kian Geraghty go from row 8 from Kyuho Lee and Luca Bertoni on row 9.
Hugo Herrard starts on row 10, is joined by Henki Kaltunen on that one. Matis Meerschout and Teresa Babichkova start on row number 11. Colin Werthenberger, a lot of experience here in Italy, starts on row 12 alongside Matthias van der Kerkhoff. Kevin Bress and Roberto Castellozzi start on row 13, then it's Sam Balota and Artavar Saur on an all-Belgium row 14. Thomas van Vleet and Andrea Pirovano start on row 15 ahead of Raul Zanzarin and Joseph Smith. Row 17, Thibaut Ramekers is going to have to get his overtaking boots on again from 33rd on the grid. He's joined by Nicholas Simic. The 36 kart field is completed by the winner of his round last year for round 3 of the championship, Eloy Gonzalez. Kevin Lantinga, another overtaking specialist, completes the grid there on row 18. It's a stacked field, Anthony, from front to the very back. There are drivers, Ruben Moya, for example, 3rd in the championship, hasn't even made it on to this grid. It could be another key race, another important race for the 2024 Miami Euro Series Championship.
It certainly could be. Well, drivers getting themselves formed up and ready for this final. They have already passed the red line, so from here there is no overtaking allowed unless it's to get to your, well, unless you're just pumping up to the driver in front of you, of course. We look good to go this time around. The back of the grid still getting into formation, but the front is set and ready to go. It's Danny Carenini and Cristian Biasatti. Will it be an Italian podium here in Italy? Let's go racing down in towards turn 1. It's a great start for Carenini. Ferrari into second. Down the inside, it's Luzio. Luzio wheel to wheel with Ferrari, and he dives into second place. It's Marcus Luzio for the United Kingdom into P2. Biasatti having to defend. Oh, and Thibaut Ramekers, he's got damage. He's out of this final. The Belgian, who was looking strong over the course of this one, is out. And off the track, is that Cristian Biasatti? It is. The driver who started on the front row and won his superheat is tumbling down the order. Luzio to the lead, wheel to wheel with Carenini. Ferrari there in third place.
Well, we've seen some incredible things so far this year from Marcus Luzio, but I don't think anyone would have predicted this. Down the inside into the second hairpin at the end of lap number 1. Marcus Luzio has had the start of his life, has gone from 7th to lead at the end of lap 1. Carenini's looking around the outside. This could be an opportunity for Ferrari. Down the inside, no, Carenini shuts the door, and we get into lap number 2 now. I mean, there was a sensational start from Luzio. He held it down the inside, wiggled his way through up to third place through the first couple of corners, and then just kept going, didn't he? Now, is he taking too much out of the tyres? That would be my question in all of this right now. Can he keep this pace up? Because he's got attention from Carenini, Ferrari, Ratel is there as well, and Loritz Sash. Keep an eye out for Loritz Sash. His race pace has been very good this weekend. As out of the race, that's Clement Neutron. It's Clement Neutron, so the 2 top TB runners at the start of this race are gone. Carenini down the inside takes the lead of the race away from Luzio. Ferrari fights through as well into second place as he gone too wide. He's got it back under control. What an amazing start to this X30 Senior final.
It certainly is. Ratel still there in fourth place as well. He's piling on the pressure to Marcus Luzio just ahead. Keep an eye, though, because behind, Loritz Sash, who had a dismal run in his superheat after he crashed out after going wide after some contact through turns number 7 and 8 earlier on in the day, is fighting back in this one. There's your top 5, separated by just 0.6 of a second right now. David Dragan, a warning flag. The driver who started on the third row of the grid in P5 will tumble down the order at the end. Race going on to lap number 4 of 7 now, and it's an Italian 1-2 with France now up into third with Romeo Ratel getting there now behind Ferrari. Well, Luzio will have to tuck in behind now. He'll have to try and fight back here as he goes now. He's got Sash right behind him, and I suspect here we are going to see Carenini and Danny and Ferrari just drive away here now. They'll work together. Yes, okay, they're not, well, they've got the same engines on board of their wagons. They're kind of running on 2 different liveries there, kind of running, one's on the M2 livery, one's on the Zanchi, but they're both running on Zanchi engines. Back on board with Marcus Luzio. This is up into turn 14 now. Oh, God, look at the closing speed there under braking. Past the brand new hotel on the left-hand side there, through turn 15. It's so fast. And look how wide the track is here. You've got so much space to really push it through. This is a brilliant shot on board here with Marcus Luzio, really showing you the speed, but crucially, how little they're having to use the wheel there. There's barely touching the steering wheel there, isn't he?
As I say, Marcus Luzio has got a great balance on board his premium karting machine so far this year. It's giving him an extension of his championship lead over those who are directly behind him at the start of the weekend. Ratel is coming back here. Had a good start to the weekend, then went a bit quiet through the latter rounds of the qualifying heats. All of these drivers went through a very long programme of qualifying heats, 6 of them, and then the super heat earlier on this morning. But Romeo Ratel, if he was holding something back for the final, that was a very good call indeed, because he is pushing the 2 Italians hard here. End of lap number 7. Carenini still leads. This is a very different kind of race for Danny Carenini. We've talked about how he has this tendency to bolt off the front, get a 2.5 lead, then go into tyre conservation mode. Doesn't need to do that right now. He's not able to do that right now because he's got the best of the best on his rear bumper right now. Riccardo Ferrari continuing to just hold at the moment. Playing the longer game here, knowing it would be, well, he's going to go down the inside now on Carenini for the lead of the race. He's had enough of sitting behind the leader through the event so far, and he takes the race lead here in the final. Is there going to be an opportunity for Ratel down the inside? He pounces. What a move by the Frenchman up into second place, and this is good news for Luzio and for Sash behind. They're going to sense the opportunity as well.
Yeah, this is nice stuff here from the drivers. I don't think Carenini was ready for it, but he's ready to retaliate to it. Back down the inside of Ratel, moves up into P2 as we go back on board with Marcus Luzio in P4. Through turn 5 they go. You can see they're just fighting the wheel here. The grip is on the outside line here. He's not going to be able to get the run down the inside as they go through turns 9, 10, in towards 11 and 12 on the next ones. But again, just showing the undulation changes, the camber on the corners from this onboard here. Really, really special angle to see this Franciacorta circuit in action. Back down in towards turn 14. Here comes Lawrence Sash, though, to the inside. It's a double overtake, is it? Yes, it is. Luzio goes through, Sash goes through, and Ratel down to P5 now. That's allowed the two to break away. Ferrari from Carenini, Luzio, Sash, Ratel, Nugrade, McLaughlin, Dragan, and Württemberger, the top 10. Thundaren, that's his second warning flag now he's just received. He'll have 10 seconds worth of in-race time penalties then after this one. Ratel sets the fastest lap of the race. He's closing in. Look at him on the Pantano kart there. He's behind Ratel.
And Andy Ratel was very, very quick in the superheats earlier on today. He's had fantastic race pace throughout the weekend. Had a bit of bad luck in the final round of heats when he had a technical problem off of a restart after a red flag. You know, a not too often seen scenario for us here in karting. But look, he's fighting through now. That's him past Sash for 5th place. These two have got to keep working together, I'd say, for the next 5 or 6 laps, because there's some quick drivers behind who will not be afraid to pounce on any opportunity in the last couple of laps. They are doing so. Ferrari and Carenini, they've got about 3/4 of a second clear of Marcus Luzio right now. There are your virtual championship scores. If the race was to finish like this, it would be Luzio 8 points ahead of Carenini, a further 10 points ahead of Ferrari. I was saying earlier that Ferrari isn't really part of the championship bid. I'm going to completely reverse that. He definitely is now with this kind of performance. He's definitely got to go to Wackersdorf and to Genk, because he's been a brilliant part of this weekend. Carenini has a little bump draft there. That's absolutely fine. That's them just working together to try and fend off Marcus Luzio. He's in a very difficult position now on his own, 2 versus 1. But here goes Carenini, and Carenini says, come follow me, let's go, let's get up the road from the championship leader. Ferrari didn't fight that one too hard, and with good reason. The result is Carenini, once again here at Franciacorta, leads.
Yeah, again, Carenini again, just throwing that remark out there. And again, I think Ferrari was just going again a little bit defensive on Carenini. Could feel that Carenini was there. They were bumping their way through. He knew that Carenini was there. He could hear the engine. And I think we're just thinking, oh, we're halfway through the race now. Maybe I should start going defensive. Carenini said, no, don't do that. Go the long way. This is real experience versus a driver who is a local driver, knows this track super, super well, but is battling against the best in Europe right now. Yes, okay, Carenini is his fellow countryman, but still, there is a lot more experience in Carenini's kart at the moment versus Ferrari's.
I have a strange tingling feeling, Anthony, in the case of deja vu, that we're about to see Danny Carenini turbo mode, where he starts hitting green sectors after green sectors. Now he's unleashed. Now the question is, can Riccardo Ferrari go with him? The 16.2s through the first sector. Another 16.2 from Luzio as well. Ratel slightly quicker than them now, and Ratel has got up to 4th place. Right now Ferrari is going with Danny Carenini as they sweep down onto the back straight into the second hairpin once again here on lap number 11. You can see Ferrari there. Yeah, he's quite happy just to help his countryman at the moment. And through round to complete another lap. The gap was 0.8 of a second from first to third last time around. What is it now? It's 1 second. It's 1 second. So these two are pulling out ahead. They're starting to make it look like it's going to be an Italian 1-2 in this race. The question is, in what order?
That is the ultimate question. Now, you saw there on the start-finish straight, Danny Carenini just adjusting the carburetor there just a little bit. They have got a little bit of play they can use in that to try and get a competitive edge here. And, well, at the moment, it's worked out a little bit because he's opened up a little bit of a gap there. I mean, you say it's fine-tuning. It's risky to do it because you could accidentally hit a bump and then push it too far one way, and then all of a sudden the engine stalls or it seizes or anything like that, or it doesn't rev. So it's really risky to get it done, but I think he's nailed it on that one over the start-finish line. Ferrari's not dropped off the back, though. They have stayed a line astern as they go back over the start-finish line. The gap's increasing now. 1.3 seconds to Luzio as that battle's kicked off just behind. Ratel has got through. Rosella's got through as well. They're up into P3 and 4 now, and Luzio will have to fight back here. Here comes Finn McLaughlin down the inside. The Irishman is up into P5, and he's 5th in the championship standing as well. He's battling with Ferrari as well in the championship standings. Who'd have thunk that? Someone who's raced in the first round of the championship as Zuera is racing against someone in the championship who didn't even take part there.
Wasn't even there indeed. For Marcus Luzio, he's just got to stay calm right now. 6th place. You can't win every single race. This might be one of those days where he's just got to take the championship points on offer. Oh, here he goes again. McLaughlin down the inside. We saw this in the superheats, and he's at it again through the second hairpin. Another great move to add to the show reel of Finn McLaughlin. That's him up to 4th place. 4 laps to go. Carenini still out ahead of Riccardo Ferrari, but what is the pace of Andy Ratel like? That's what I'm interested in right now. We know the Italians are going to be quick out front, but it's in the balance with Andy Ratel, who's up 12 places in this race. What's it like through sector number 2? Still a 10.5 between the 2 race leaders. Is Andy Ratel able to pull in? No, it's at most hundredths of a second right now when he needs tenths.
Well, Riccardo Ferrari's not had the lap he'll wanted on this one. The gap has opened up just that little bit between the two of them. Carenini, the gap's opened up to 0.2 of a second now, but with the slipstream down this main straight, Riccardo Ferrari able to stay in tune with Danny Carenini. We are not seeing a one-car breakaway here. These two will go to the end, but like you alluded to earlier, which one of them will take the checker flag first? Ratel, well, again, the gap staying 1.3. The set times this time around was a little bit faster than both Ferrari and Carenini, so maybe there is a possibility of him closing in. Ferrari will keep an eye on that gap happening behind. You can see now he's taking the tighter lines through this section. He's starting to look behind more than he is in front, and that's what's opening up this gap. There again, he's just done it again. He's looking behind him. Riccardo, if you keep looking behind you like that, you'll end up going that way. Oh dear, and in the wall here, 2 karts have gone off the track. Now, who's this? Is this Sambalota and Kian Gerety? Maybe Andrea Pirovano, I think, maybe. Yeah, so they've tumbled down. Actually, no, I think that's Cristian Biasatti and Roberto Cazzolozzi who have gone down as well, because they've just tumbled down the order. How many TB karts have tumbled to the back of the grid in this one? I'll never know. Russell and McLaughlin, wheel to wheel. Russell gets through and gets up into P4. Nicely done.
Really good fight back there from Romeo Russell, replying after the overtake from McLaughlin earlier. Well, I was going to say that Riccardo Ferrari looked like he was sliding around and maybe having some troubles on tyres a few laps ago. Well, he's got that back under control. Another point to Carenini. I think he knows that at the moment, Andy Ratel is only a second behind. If they start fighting too early, they could lose this race victory between the two of them. We're on to the final lap then here in Franciacorta. It's Italy 1, Italy 2, followed by France in the shape of Carenini, Ferrari, Ratel. Can Riccardo Ferrari find a way through? He's looking down the inside into turn 5. Carenini's given him the space, and he's through. Great move by Ferrari. Has Carenini got a response? Is he saving something? For turn 14, Andy Ratel's going to say, come on, keep fighting, gentlemen up ahead, because I want to fight as part of this race win as well.
He's a bit wide there, though.
Ferrari defensive into turn 11 and 12 through 13. Carenini's going to have a chance here. Down the back straight, Ferrari's going to have to go defensive. Carenini's going to have to go around the outside or do the switchback. Has he got the switchback on? He has a little bit of a slide mid-corner. It's not enough.
It is enough.
Side by side over the line. Who's got it?
It's Ferrari.
Ferrari wins in Franciacorta by 0.014. It's the closest finish we've seen here this weekend. In the last race, Riccardo Ferrari, I thought he'd celebrated too soon. He put his hands in the air and he just holds off Danny Carenini by 100th.5.
Well, I said to him at the start of this weekend, I said, Riccardo Ferrari, what a name. You're racing in Italy with an Italian team on with the most Italian name ever. Please win the final or all of these races. And he only went and did it. So I'm going to start offering my services here.
I was going to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to pay this man to my left some euros to have the ultimate pep talk, he has a 100% hit rate. There it is on the screen. But what a win. And I've got to say that Riccardo Ferrari has been a great part of the round here this weekend, and a deserving winner. And a great drive as well from Danny Carenini.
Certainly so. Well, you can't take it away from any of the field. Here's a look at the full classification at the end of that one. Provisionally, of course, Riccardo Ferrari for Italy wins here in Franciacorta ahead of his fellow countryman Danny Carenini. Andy Ratel finishing in 3rd position ahead of the rest of the field. Brilliant result, of course, for all of them. McLaughlin just coming in 4th place after gaining those 2 positions. Russell, Luzio, Sash, Nugared, Kyuho Lee, and Matthias van der Kerkhoff rounding out the top 10. 14 places gained for van der Kerkhoff. That is a superb result.
He's been another one of the entertainers here this weekend as Matthias van der Kerkhoff. The rest of the order there, disappointment for the likes of Thibaut Ramekers, Clement Utron, Kian Garrity, all big names who didn't make it to the end of that race. Sambalota and Andrea Pirovano as well. I'm afraid to say, what a disaster for TB Kart Racing. They would have expected drivers on the podium here. Their highest classified driver was in 25th place. A real disappointment for them here this weekend. But no disappointment for this man. Riccardo Ferrari, he came, he saw, he conquered this weekend in Italy. And I think he's almost in a state of shock. He can't quite believe it, because Danny Carenini was such a strong favourite for this race, Anthony. It was always going to take something special, and that's good to see. Good sportsmanship. A smile there from Carenini knows it's not a win this weekend, but he has had a superb weekend.
I think the main thing they can take away from it is that here in Italy, they've given their home country an Italian 1-2, haven't they? That's the main thing they can take away from it. Here's the highlights of this one. Great start from that inside row. Crucially, Danny Carenini and Riccardo Ferrari breaking away at the front of that one. But it was Marcus Luzio who really put in the pressure. And Luzio, I thought, was going to be a dominant force in this one. This was him on board at the start. Watch him go down the inside here. Got the tighter inside line and just sends it straight down the inside. The gap is there, clean as day, gets up into 3rd place straight away. The gap again opens up from Riccardo Ferrari, and then he moves up into P2. It was a textbook start from the 3rd row of the grid.
He really was. I mean, and he got on the rubbered in line there. That was crucial for that exit from turn number 3. There was a few drivers out early on. That was a turnaround. That's how we lost Thibaut Ramekers. Real shame that we didn't get the opportunity to see another Thibaut Ramekers charge through the field. But another testing weekend. He's learnt a lot this weekend here in the seniors. Back on board with Luzio. This was something that, I'll be honest, I did not expect to see at the end of lap 1. Luzio down the inside of Carenini for the lead of the race, but that is what happened. And at this stage of the race, it was looking very good for Luzio.
It certainly was. I mean, again, these sort of moves here from Luzio, the gap just there. He's got against someone who's been winning all weekend, not afraid to get that move done. That was the disastrous moment for Clement Utron. You could just see him there. He tried to get it out the cut, and he's just like, you know what? Forget this. I'm out.
Yeah.
And that sort of there, that's heartbreak for me.
It really is. And for a driver, was second in the final in Spain. He's got a lot of work. He's still part of the championship, but he's got a lot of work to do now for the remaining 2 rounds of the season. Will be 5th in the points, leaving Italy tonight. Race continued. Romeo Roussel's had a very good weekend. Been impressed with the driving from the Frenchman. This was one of the key moves. This was Ferrari down the inside, showing to Carenini was that he was not going to have everything his own way in this race, and that he wanted to lead this one from the front. Roussel went on the attack down the inside of Carenini on lap number 6. That was a move for 2nd place. Lorenz Sash was part of the battle at this stage also. Carenini, as we often see from Carenini, when he is faced with these situations and not being able to dominate at the front, when he gets overtaken, he's a driver who replies straight away, and he did so there to retake 2nd place. That was a great move from Luzio, followed through by Sash for third place on Ratel. Here's the view of it on board. And looks effortless at the wheel sometimes as Marcus Luzio, but I know at that point he'll have had the grip between his teeth to make that one stick. Andy Ratel then appeared on the scene, Anthony, similar to what we saw in the superheats this morning, the Frenchman coming through the field. And although there was a good number of laps to go, we knew he was going to be a threat.
Yeah, he certainly was. Really good performance there for Andy Ratel in the second half of the weekend. That was the then overtake for the race lead. Danny Carenini back down the inside. I think Riccardo Ferrari at that point was going defensive at that point of the race, and Carenini was like, no, don't do that. That's the worst thing you could do. Keep going. He took the lead, but it was kind of forced a little bit. His hands were forced to take that lead there. Ratel and Luzio again communicating, just saying, right, just keep going, close that gap back up. This on the final lap, though, brilliant move there from Ferrari. Well timed, not running out too wide, not out braking yourself, just squeezing the overlap at the right time. And
his control of the apex speed was spot on there. That was so close. I mean, yeah, if the line is another 50 meters down the circuit, we're talking about a Danny Carenini win there.
That is experience versus, oh my God, I've done it. Like that was hands up in the air like, yes, and then Danny Carenini, who's tucked in as much as possible. This was the view of that from Marcus Luzio, just not able to get the legs on Ratel there out of the corner. And yeah, clearly just not happy with the result there. You know, the championship leader going into this weekend. He is still the championship leader, but the gap's come down now. Danny Carenini now closing it up to just less than 5 points now.
Yeah, and you really look at those scores. I think anyone in the top 7 would, well, top 8 would be realistically think they're still in with a chance of winning the championship.
Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for your top 3 in the senior category. Please now welcome onto the podium from Franciacorta, Emanuele Clerici, to present the top 3 winners' trophies. Firstly, to Andy Ratel. Secondly, to second place finisher, Danny Carenini. And your race winner in his home country, give it up for Riccardo Ferrari. And the team's trophy as well to Matteo Zanchi. Zanchi, sorry. It's been a long day. Give it up, drivers. Nice big trophies and nice big smiles up in the air for me, please, for our top 3. A brilliant result for all the drivers. Perfect. Nice big smiles for all the photographers out there. We'd like to get all top 3 of you on that top spot on the podium as well. Please get in nice and close on that top spot. Matteo, you could join as well. Get up there. Yeah, jump up there with it. No, yeah, on the podium, not towards me. There we go. Nice big smiles there with the top 3. Superb effort then for our top 3 out there. Well, let's get ready for the favourite part of the weekend. You can probably drop those trophies. Matteo, you now can duck and cover from this point of all, because I'm sure you don't want to get covered in champagne. Mark, if you'd like to present the drivers with their champagne bottles. It's been a tough weekend for the Italians and the Frenchmen here this weekend, but we can now relax as 3, 2, 1 with champagne! Well, superb. Once again, all the drivers have left the podium to go and soak their teams. But we'll ask one driver to come back if he possibly can. Riccardo, do come on back. We'll have a quick chat. Come and join me on this side just here. But Riccardo, what a weekend for you. The start of the weekend, let's look back. I'll go up to you. I say, Riccardo, you've got the best Italian name I could possibly think of. Please win everything. You only went and did it. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. I'm pretty happy about the result. I only want to thank Matteo, Marco, Mario, and all the people who supporting me, my mechanic, that is my dad. And I only want to enjoy this moment and probably make them prepare for the next race.
Well, that is the next talking point for us. Is we did speak briefly in between the racing this weekend, saying, are you going to come to Wackersdorf? Are you going to come to Genk? After this win here, has that twisted your arm? Are you coming to Wackersdorf?
We will see in this day, in this month, we will decide if we make it and all the race or not.
Well, let's fingers crossed for him. We do hope to see you there. You're a great character. We'd love to see you in the paddock at round 3. Well, Riccardo, congratulations. Well done. And we'll let you enjoy the moment.
Thank you. Bye.
Excellent stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Senior X30.